Hey everyone, Connor coming to you from the World Divide. Today I want to talk about the recent updates in the Russo-Ukraine War. After the collapse of Solidar, which we saw kind of in the last couple of weeks, the Russians are now kind of treating that town as they did Popasna back when they collapsed the Severodonetsk-Lysychansk cauldron, and they're flowering, advancing in multiple directions. They've physically cut the supply road leading between Bakhmut and Seversk, which was kind of the main artery um, keeping supply and support through that town. So the Russians have been kind of pressuring, increasing their artillery fire on all the positions around Seversk to prevent redeployment. At the same time, launching kind of smaller scale offensives west of Kreminna to create the Seversk cauldron. And the situation in Bakhmut is getting worse and worse. The Russians have made some advances south of Bakhmut as well. It's kind of unknown where their advances are. The town of Klishivka is really the last solid fortification before the Russians are able to establish complete fire control over the road that leads between Chasiv Yar, Konstantinivka, and Bakhmut. And if they're able to take Klishivka as well, they'll be able to flower kind of in between three important points of contact: Bakhmut, Konstantinivka, and Touretsk, New York conglomeration. Now the big news, the Russians, as of yesterday, activated a wide-scale offensive on the Zaporizhzhia front. It's a front that's been quiet for nearly the entire war, and the Russians have captured around 5 towns southeast, south, and southwest of Orikhiv, and have also improved their tactical positions east of Kuliaipo. Now, the rate at which the Russians have expanded their zone of control and advanced is very concerning for the Ukrainians. They, the only real defense that the Ukrainians kind of have set up there is minefields and infantry. They don't have enough heavy equipment. And the Russians are taking this kind of window, this opportunity, while we haven't transferred the tanks, Leopard 2 tanks, Bradley armored fighting vehicles, kind of the heavy armor, the heavy equipment that Ukraine needs to be able to launch a spring offensive. It appears that the Russians are trying to kind of beat that window. So we'll see kind of how this situation develops, but it's not looking good for the Ukrainians. Now, the next question is, do the Russians just want to improve their tactical positions for the spring, or is this one part in multiple different parts of a large-scale offensive that the Russians are planning to achieve? Now, if the Russians really want to create a really good defensive perimeter, the best way to do that is to also attack from the north, re-enter the Cherniv and Sumy regions, and try to cut off all the bridges leading from western Ukraine to eastern Ukraine. And the Russians have the capability to do this. They have the force concentrations in the north to be able to do this. Last week I got an update that the Ukrainians are reinforcing this border and they are preparing defenses up here. But this is a significant development. It's certainly a hell of a lot more ground that they gained in one night than they have, in Solidar and kind of the whole Bakhmut theater in 2 months. So this is a highly concerning thing for the Ukrainians, and we'll have to see what they do about it. But they don't have an artillery advantage there. They moved a lot of their artillery brigades their air mobile brigades over to Bakhmut just to hold that line and prevent it from collapsing. But what we're seeing now is the collapse of the Zaporizhzhia front on the part of the Ukrainians. So we'll see what happens here. And I'll keep everyone updated on the situation as it arises. Thanks, guys. Bye.